Hiya, and welcome back to Tennis Ace, the game that teaches us that we will probably never finish this game. We will probably experience the heat death of the universe before we finish this game. Let's just hop right in. Saya, Keisuke, and I quickly unpacking our lunches, beginning to eat as Yuuichi and Jun steer the conversation to more mundane, easily discussed topics. The three of us seem to share an unspoken agreement to mostly keep our silence unless we have something relevant to add to the conversation, making sure not to overshadow the other two as we had before. By the time our lunch break finally came to an end, we'd managed to slip back into a comfortable mood despite our previous setback, with our animated discussion into plans for a potential group outing being interrupted by the sound of the bell. Ugh, damn it, we didn't manage to get anything set in stone. Setting things in stone is a lot harder than you think. To begin with, stone isn't a liquid, so it can't set. Were you always this much of a dweeb?
It's fine, Shoichi-san. We can talk about it later. Not to mention the fact that phones exist.
I know they do, but it's much easier to make plans in person. Yeah. Like, okay, hang on. I'm grabbing my phone real quick. The game's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I genuinely love this game. I genuinely love this game. It's just extremely long. Yeah. 1v in that is kind of long that I have been thinking about reading on here. Even though it is extremely NSFW. Is extracurricular activities. And that is because it holds a special place in my heart. In case you haven't read the thing, yeah, all I'm going to say is, it holds a special place in my heart, but we probably shouldn't read it for multiple reasons. A, like Raj said, it's way too long, and B, it is extremely NSFW. There's no rush, we got through our competition. Our next midterms aren't until October. We have time. I mean, I do have a competition soonish, but that only lasts a day, and I still practice at home and at school almost every day, so it's fine. In fact, I'm planning to get some more practice in after class today. Speaking of, you seem a lot more confident about it nowadays. I seem to recall a certain someone freaking out at the mere mention of his competition just a few short months ago. Getting back into the groove of it helped a lot with my nerves. We'll figure out the next VN we're going to play later. It's a shame. I wouldn't mind comforting you backstage again like I did that time. What? No way! Please forget that ever happened! I don't know if I can. Besides, are you sure your hands won't feel cold again if I'm not there to— Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! What on earth happened backstage that day? I feel like we only ever got the abridged version. Based on Kobayashi's reaction, I can more or less imagine it. With the sound of Jun's whines and protests, the other three collect their things, still snickering under their breaths before making their way out and back to their respective classes, leaving behind a very flustered Tiger hiding his face between his arms. Man, I didn't think that would work so well. You are so unfair! How am I unfair? Saying something that embarrassing out of nowhere in front of other people, not to mention saying it in front of our friends that don't know about, you know? Fair enough. Maybe I should chase after— Hang on. Maybe I should chase after Keikun and Saya real quick and let them know that we're— Don't you dare! This is too easy. I almost feel bad doing it. What's that? Are you saying you don't want our friends to know? My, aren't you a very secretive tiger? That's not what I'm saying at all! I'm just saying that— not like this. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's not that we can't tell them. I'm glad he's so distracted with trying to explain himself that he doesn't bother to call me out on my bluff. I'm hiding inside the biggest glass house here, and he doesn't realize he could easily disarm me if he bothered to throw even a small pebble. Lucky me. There, it's okay. We don't need to tell anyone since you're so against it. No, stop messing with me. Sorry, I can't. It's too fun. Jun groans, cradling his head in an exceedingly adorable gesture of frustration, one that makes me want to keep going, to tease him more. I pat the cute, annoyed tiger on the back, doing my best to hold back the laughter that wants more than anything to come out. In my defense, this is your fault. I'm only human. If you give me a knife, of course I'm going to twist it. If it makes you feel any better, it's really fun to see you all flustered like this. How's that supposed to make me feel better? I did say if. Cleaved? Is that new one? That Nuvian? Cleaved? Because I actually started reading that one personally. Yeah, I started reading it personally. I did say if. Go sit over there! Get away from me! Don't be like that. I get back to my seat, all the while chuckling softly while I watch the tiger sulk, his tail lashing behind him in the most adorable manner. Before I can think of anything else to say, however, our next teacher arrives, forcing me to plan my chance to keep messing with June. Quite literally saved by the bell. A few hours later, I collect my things, packing away my books, pencil, and others. A quick cursory look through my notes reveals a whole lot of doodles and random scribbles and not much in the way of actual, well, notes. It's a bit sad, really, especially when I can go back just a few pages and see all these beautiful, pristine notes from before my accident. All annotated, separated by subject with bullet points for each and basic commentary to the side. It's a thing of beauty, really. And yet, despite trying my best, I can't seem to concentrate when it comes to class. As soon as it starts, my mind goes someplace else, drifting a million miles away. And not through the most pleasant of places either. Are you going to be heading home now? I mean, yes. Not much else for me to do here, is there? At least not anymore. You look tense again, like you did this morning. Are you sure you're okay? Didn't you say you wouldn't ask me that? I said I wouldn't ask if you need help. I never made any promises about not checking up on you. That is just semantics. Maybe, but I'll take whatever foothold I can get. Victory by any cost. This isn't a battle. Everything is a battle if you treat it like one. See you later, June. I drape my bag over my shoulders, grabbing my crutches and quickly attempting to get up and push past the tiger. June steps aside quite easily, though he looks at me with these searching eyes, scanning over my face as if he were expecting something. Is there something wrong? Don't be like that. Don't get all stiff and wound up just because I made a joke. I'm not wound up. Yes, you are. You're not letting your emotions out and dealing with them in a healthy manner. So your body is holding all of this extra tension. Are you a shrink now? No, but I have seen one regularly for over a year. And he said those exact words to me in some way or another at least a few times. Plus, I have eyes, and I'm not stupid. No matter whether you believe me on that or not. I don't think you're stupid. Gullible and naive? Sure. But not stupid. Have you tried looking for something to distract yourself with? It usually helped when the bad thoughts would come to mind. Who says I'm having bad thoughts? And... wait, didn't you just criticize me for not letting my emotions out? Now you're telling me to get a distraction instead of doing that? If I told you to let it out and tell me how you're really feeling, bad, ugly thoughts and all, would you do it? No. Didn't think so. In which case, distractions. At least until you're ready to face whatever it is that's going on in your head. Ugh, it's so creepy to get psychoanalyzed like this. Makes me feel like he's in my head somehow. That's a terrifying thought. Reminds me of when I was a little kid and I would think absurd, ridiculous things in an effort to sniff out any mind readers around me. Which is a very random thing to be remembering right now. I've been trying to distract myself for the past few days, but it hasn't been working all that well. As soon as I'm alone, no matter how hard I try, I keep thinking about things I'd rather not think about. So we don't let you be alone. Pretty easy solution. What's that supposed to mean? That I'm going to keep you company? How did you not get that? Didn't you say you had plans to practice today? Right, because I've never practiced or played the piano in general while you were around. It's unheard of. Don't give me sass. I still haven't forgotten you embarrassing me earlier today. I'll give you as much sass as I want and you're going to take all of it. Wow, that's... okay. Hiya. I did not expect to hear that from June of all people. Talk about forceful. Is it bad that I kind of like it when he's feisty? So, what? You expect me to walk all the way to the music room? You did make us go to the roof yesterday, all the while insisting you didn't need help. You'll live. You could try to be more considerate. If we're considerate, you get mad. If I'm not considerate, you complain that I'm not being considerate enough. There's no winning with you, is there? I guess you have a point. If it makes it easier on you, you can lean on me for the walk there. Hell no, I'm not an invalid. You're doing it again! I couldn't not do it. The comedic timing was too perfect. June unlocks the door to the music room, sliding it open and flicking the lights on before making room for me to get inside. He immediately gets to pushing a few desks apart and making room for me to get around without hounding me, instead letting me have my independence, which is really nice of him. I do consider telling him that there's no need for the lights to be turned on considering how brightly lit this room is in the first place, but eventually decide against it. Here, I made some room so you can sit. First row! Aren't I lucky? You sure are. Getting a private show and everything. Someone's got a big head. Nah, it's average. I didn't mean it literally, you dork. I take the hand June offered me, gathering my crutches and putting them away on top of a nearby desk. June quickly checks to make sure I'm okay, taking the bag off my shoulders for me and then sitting aside next to it. What kind of song would you like to hear? I get to choose? I mean, it's practice for me all the same, so... I don't know the names of any songs, though. I know. Ugh. That's okay, just tell me a mood or something. I have a lot of songs mostly memorized, not to mention the stupid amount of sheet music I carry with me. I'm sure I can find something that fits your request. They're mostly classical, though. Which one? Okay, how about... Alright, quick fact thing. Something cheerful, Okay, so I have to really stream. Why? Here, I will be right back, but we're going to do cheerful. Yeah, Star is lurking in the background. We are not doing chord progressions tonight because it is way too late. Alright, something cheerful. Oh, that's pretty easy, actually. Is it? Is it? I wouldn't know. I do have one sonata that I was practicing a few days ago that fits pretty well. Well, it's more of a warm-up exercise, really. If you proceed to play something super technical after calling it a warm-up exercise, I will dig something out of my bag to throw at you. It's you. What did you paint that? Yeah. That's pretty good. Okay, it's Sam's now. Well, that's rude! No one likes fake humility. I've been playing for years. It's not my fault if something that is easy for me sounds difficult to you. I'm hearing a whole lot of excuses and no piano. Keep that up and I'm gonna head home and take your crutches with me. But wait, no, I'm kidding. June fixes me with an overly cheerful smile, hiding behind it so much annoyance that he might as well be glaring at me. The sight of it is enough to send a shiver down my spine, letting me know that I'm probably nearing the limit of how much I can tease him for one day without suffering some serious comeuppance. Good. Now stop being a brat and just listen to me play. Yes, sir. Forceful June is scary, and also kind of fun to see. Dear God, what is it with me today? June pulls his bench, sitting down on it and adjusting himself a little. I watch him do a few stretches, pulling on his fingers, grabbing his elbows above his head, among other things. The sight of it makes me giggle under my breath, and I don't quite know why. The idea of a pianist doing warm-ups as if he were some kind of athlete is somehow funny to me. May June never catch me saying that. He places his hand on the keys, his shoulders rise and fall a few times, at which point I realize he's taking deep breaths. I guess he has to follow his routine before he starts playing, even if it's just for practice. Come to think of it, it's not all that different from me doing my pre-serve routine. As soon as he starts playing... Said far beyond the world. I'm still waiting on the update for that one. I actually don't know when it's getting updated. As soon as he starts playing, the sweet sound of a high-pitched melody begins to fill the room. I quickly realize with complete regret that sitting behind June was a bad idea. I usually watch him play from the side, letting me see what he's doing. From where I'm sitting, though, I can't really see his fingers all that well. I can only watch his back and hear the music. I lightly chew on the inside of my cheek to keep myself from voicing my displeasure at my mistake, not wanting to run the risk of breaking his concentration. On the plus side, the song is quite pretty, even if it sounds so sweet to the point of being almost saccharine. I don't recognize it, but the sweet, gentle melody echoes inside the room, filling it with the brightest, warmest colors there are. Or at least that's how it feels. I close my eyes, letting myself enjoy the tune in peace. I can feel the hints of a smile beginning to form across my lips. Before long, I start to sway back and forth up to the rhythm of the music, letting it infect me and fill me up with its colors. This is nice. I wonder why it is. June's piano always seems to calm me. It's like something builds inside of me whenever I hear him play. Like the breaking of a dam, emotions well up that I don't even realize are there until they bubble to the surface and can no longer be ignored. In what feels like a split second, I choke out a quiet sob, feeling all the built-up tension crash against me and begin to fade away, leaving me limp. My shoulders shake under the weight of an emotional load that I'm far too beaten up to carry, all as I do my best to stifle the barrage of tears that is threatening to burst. I bring both hands to my face, covering my eyes and mouth to keep it all from coming out. I continue to hear June's piano echoing inside this room, safe in the knowledge that it's only the two of us here. The hand that covers my eyes begins to feel moist, but I do my best to keep from moving. It feels like if I move, if I even breathe, everything that is kept barely contained and simmering beneath the surface would come out all at once. I can't have that. I can't let that happen, because I know that if June noticed what I'm doing right now, he would probably stop playing right away to check on me. And I couldn't bear the thought of that right now. That gentle melody of his, while it is unraveling and threatening to make me come undone, is also the only thing keeping me together right now. I want to hear all of it. So I continue to stifle my sobs, greedily taking in all of June's music, letting my ears twitch with every note, letting my body's shoulders quiver with every bar. And as the last note echoes out, the room is again taken over by cruel silence. For a few seconds, that is all that there is. And then, June breathes out. I've seen him do it before. It's him relaxing after finishing his piece. It lets me know that he's well and truly done. Which means it's time for me to pull myself together. I've only listened to one of them. I cannot listen to the rest at the moment, because I do not have Apple Music anymore. I lost it. They took it away from me. I grab my shirt, quickly wiping my face with it to try as best as I can to hide the tears. I don't know, like, they took the money, but they didn't renew my subscription. I'm actually going to call them about it tomorrow. I'm just going to be all like, yo, I paid you. Why do I not have Apple Music anymore? Like, it's literally on my bank statement that I paid Apple $20 for Apple Music. No. Here's the funny thing. That is actually the second time. Yeah. That is the second time I have faced this issue. This is the second time I have faced this issue. Not with Apple. It's with a different company. I'm not going to go into it, but let's just say I should probably call them because the other company just straight up stole from me. I grab my shirt, quickly wiping my face with it to try as best as I can to hide the tears. When I open my eyes and look forward, I see June standing in front of me, having gotten up from the piano and freezing on the spot as soon as he saw my face. That was really, really good. Thanks for playing for me, June. For a second, I worry that he's going to say something. I'm terrified that he's going to ask me if I'm okay. And I know I wouldn't be able to bear it if he did. But instead, the tiger flashes me a gentle smile, walking slowly toward me until he's close enough to touch. He extends a single hand, placing it on top of my head, kindly petting me, ruffling my fur and rubbing behind my ears. Of course! Thank you for letting me play for you! The sudden, silent affection nearly breaks my heart, forcing me to look down to keep a second wave of tears from erupting. I instead take a few deep breaths, sniffling more than once in my effort to recompose myself. Nah, cause with Spotify, if you try to play a song, it'll play a completely different random song. And with YouTube, I just don't want to fight YouTube. Yeah. God, I didn't know it was going to hit me so hard. I don't get it. It's like my emotions aren't my own anymore. I feel so raw, like I'm not myself anymore. I've been feeling like that for a few days, but I can't ignore it anymore. I hate it. I hate feeling this way. I'm so pathetic. Thanks. June's hand on top of my head is so warm. Just like the tiger himself. Talk about lame. I have an idea. An idea? Get up, please. I cock my head to the side, staring at the tiger in confusion, silently waiting for an explanation of some sort. One, however, that he doesn't seem inclined to give. So I do as I'm asked, grabbing my crutches and getting up from my seat. For a second, I'm afraid that my body is still too limp, that the moment I put some weight on my leg, my muscles will give out and see me falling to the floor. Thankfully, that doesn't happen. What exactly am I supposed to be doing here? First of all, wiping your face. What? Before I have time to protest, June pulls out a tissue from his pocket and begins to gently wipe my eyes and cheek with it. Taking the time to fix my matted fur. Thanks. Of course. Once he's done with that, the tiger grabs me by the hand, slowly leading me to the piano. I look at him even more confused than before, which makes him giggle. Sit down on that side. Huh? Just do it. I do as I'm told, sitting in front of the piano, looking up at June with uncertainty the entire time. Prehistoric relations, Vienna. I haven't even heard of it. The constant smile on his face tells me that he's enjoying seeing me in this kind of position too. Am I being hazed? What is going on? June takes a seat on the other side of the bench. For a second, I worry that there won't be enough room for the both of us. But even with June's bulkier physique, it can fit the two of us no problem. This is a school. Of course they'd have a two-person bench. It's not unusual for teachers to sit with their students. As if he'd read my mind, June launches into an explanation as soon as he sat down. Although we are sitting close enough that our shoulders touch. Close enough that I can feel the warmth radiating from June's body. Now, when you look at the piano, what do you see? Keys? Is this a trick question? No, of course not. Here, why don't you put your finger here? June grabs my hand, gently guiding it to rest atop a certain specific key on the piano. Do you see the way the piano is laid out? How you have a black key in between every two white keys save for two of them, and how that pattern repeats? I guess? That's because this is how the octaves are laid out. Do you know what the basic notes are in a musical scale? Sure, we learned that stuff in kindergarten. It's the do-re-mi scale, right? That's right. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si. Or C, D, E, F, G, A, B. The basic musical scale has 7 natural notes. If you count them out starting here, you'll be able to count 7 white keys. Those are the 7 basic notes, as well as 5 black ones. There are black keys in between every pair of white keys, except for in between mi, fa, and si, do. These black keys are called sharps and flats. Sharps and flats? If you're going up the scale, the notes will be sharps. In between C and D, you have C sharp. In between G and A, you have G sharp. Conversely, if you're going down the scale, they are called flats instead. So in between D and C, you have D flat, and in between A and G, you have A flat. That's a lot of information. I know, just bear with me here. Now, the note that I put your finger on is... That is middle C. Pretty cool, huh? Sure. Cool. Let's go with that. If you see a cluster of 3 white keys with 2 black keys inside it, that's do re mi. The cluster of 4 white keys with 3 blacks inside of it are the remaining notes. That's how you can identify where C is. It's the first key in the cluster of 3. But what does middle C mean? Just means that it's the C that is more or less central in the piano. The 4th C is the key that is used as reference to identify the rest of them. It's a little more complicated than that, but I'll keep it short and simple for now. Okay. Now, if I do this... Jun puts his hand on top of 3 keys, leaving 1 empty white key between each finger, playing them in sequence and then together. Hey, that sounds kind of nice. It does. That's because this is a major chord. It's a chord of C major. C major? When you make a chord, you have a note that is more distinctive. We call that the tonic note. It's the main note in the chord and the one you hear above the others. The chord is named after that note. In the chord of C major, C is the note that you hear above the others, hence the name C major. If you break it down into the base terms and concepts, the piano isn't that difficult to understand. I mean, sure, there are lots of really complicated pieces, but if you start from the basics, it's not difficult to learn how to navigate the face of the piano. At the very least, it doesn't take long to be able to tell at a glance which note is which. That makes sense. Following that logic, then would these keys here be the other C's of the keyboard? I point to a few other white keys I can see, gaining an enthusiastic response from the tiger. Correct! That's kind of neat, I'll admit. It is. I'm not going to try and teach you a bunch of complicated stuff. You don't need to worry about that. I just thought you might like knowing at least the basics. So you can understand what each key is and what function they serve. You're right. I do like that. But I do have to ask, what brought the sudden lesson in music theory? Well, from the corner of my eye, I can see Jun lowering his gaze. However, I keep my eyes on the piano, having fun trying to figure out which key is which in the meantime. I figured you could use a distraction. You've had a lot going on in the last few days. I thought something simple and easy to understand would be easier for you to focus on. Let you concentrate on something other than, yeah, that makes sense. You're right about that. I know. I can tell that you've been getting increasingly stressed out. And that you haven't been able to focus during class. I figure that anything too complicated or that uses too much energy is too much for you to focus on right now. I'm a sharp tiger, you know. Yeah. I nod along to Jun's words. Thankfully, he was right on the money about it. The basic explanation was enough to invoke my curiosity. It is kind of fun to try and figure out which key is which based on your explanation. I'm glad. And, well, there was another reason. What's that? Yuichi's... No. Yuichi? Jun reaches for my hand, grabbing it and pulling on it, breaking my concentration all at once. I turn my head to look at the tiger, confused by the sudden gesture along with the calling of my name. What? As soon as I turn my head to ask why Jun is suddenly calling out my name, it happens. So fast that, at first, I don't even understand what has transpired. Ah! Yes! My eyes go wide as soon as that slowly dawns on me. When I turn around, Jun's face was surprisingly close to mine. And before I could react, he closed the distance all at once. I could feel the warm, damp feeling of his lips on mine. The shock is so great that my entire body goes stiff, unsure of how to react to the suddenness of it all. Slowly, a warm sensation begins to come over me, along with the tightness in my chest. My still raw emotions begin acting up again as an indescribable feeling of happiness fills me up. Jun is kissing me? Jun of all people? He initiated it? And by surprise? I push back against the warm, soft tiger, leaning into the kiss, making sure not to waste even one more second of it. Jun's lips are soft and moist. The feeling of his breath on my face is comforting. It makes me wish the whole world would just stop. Another flood of tears threatens to take over me as my eyes begin to water once again. Crap, twice in a single day? Jun's fingers interlock with mine, stroking the back of my hand as he clumsily attempts to press on with a kiss. I decide to return the gesture, gently nibbling on his upper lip, eliciting a soft moan from the tiger. Something brushes up against my tail, catching me by surprise for a second before I realize that Jun is trying to tangle his tail with mine. Can't. It's all too much. I completely lose sight of time, closing my eyes and just enjoying the feeling. June pulls away all of a sudden, making me think that our kiss is over. Except it's not. It barely affords me a chance to catch my breath before the tiger greedily kisses me again and again. Inside this dusty, stuffy room, sitting in front of the piano, right where we first met. June and I make out under the sun's orange light. We fumble while pressed up against one another, our lips locked with one another, hungrily kissing each other over and over. It's awkward, it's clumsy, but above all else, it's wonderful. You good? Yeah. Finally, after what feels like an all too short eternity, June and I pull away from each other. I can still feel a pleasant tingle on my now moistened lips while the fur under my eyes is matted and damp from tears. When I open my eyes and look at June, I see the tiger bashfully looking down at her interlocked hands and avoiding eye contact. However, despite our apparent embarrassment, it's also clear that we both have big smiles on our faces. That, was really nice. June's tail continues to wrap around me. He idly plays with my fingers, gently tugging on them and rubbing my hand within his grasp. And I, for one, feel no rush to pull away from him. You couldn't have told me you were going to do that? Sorry, I was trying to summon the courage too. Not that I'm complaining, far from it. That was our first kiss. And our second. And our third. Shut up! I got carried away! That's okay. I didn't want to pull away either, so... Seeing him so close to me like this, seeing his face looking so red, seeing all the expressions he can make when he's embarrassed. All of it brings me an overwhelming sense of joy, along with the belief that, really, my boyfriend really is adorable. Hey, June? Yeah. Ah! Cupping June's face with my free hand, I immediately give the tiger a taste of his own medicine. So warm. A few hours later. For the rest of the day, I felt completely useless. Before I'd even realized it, I was back home. The time June and I finally let go of each other, the moment we said our goodbyes for the day, all of it was a daze. I apparently came back home, crawled into bed, and stayed completely still for hours, reliving that moment over and over in my head. I miss June. However, what finally snaps me out of my daydreaming is my phone buzzing in my pocket. I didn't even realize it was still there. Now that I think about it, I haven't gotten changed either, have I? What time even is it? Yuuichi. Hey, is everything okay? Yeah, I just miss you. That's really cute, you know. Shh! Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Me too. Ah! I am really looking forward to tomorrow now. I'd almost forgotten what that felt like. A warm feeling spreads over my body as I press up against something warm and soft. Wet, warm, and faintly sweet. I nibble on something moist and slippery, feeling a rumble up against my chest as I do so, followed by a muffled, high-pitched whine. You make some cute sounds sometimes, June. Shut up! I can't help it! Good. Don't. The feeling of the tiger's cute, soft body pressed up against me makes something stir inside of me. I can barely restrain the desire to grab him and push him down as he is. The longer this goes on, the more clear it becomes to me that I'm currently playing with fire. More than anything, I want to hold this tiger tight and feel his body pressed up against mine. I want to feel his lips against mine. I want to nibble on his lips and to push my tongue up against him. I want to hear him pant and whine close to my ear. This is bad. I fear I might be losing control. Yuuichi!
Go on.
Instead of letting him speak, I capture the tiger's lips once more, not giving him a chance to get away. Yuichi-san! Yeah? B? It was a dream.
You gotta be kidding me.
That was adorable.
I broke the whole ice cream out and everything. It was just a dream.
I look around, my eyes snapping open in a panic as I'm jerked away so suddenly. It takes a second for it to even click where I am in the first place. All of a sudden, and at a shocking speed, the scene that played so vividly in mind but a second ago began fading away until I could barely even recall what I had been dreaming about. What just... I get it. Shut up. I silence my alarm, already getting annoyed at how loud it is. To the point that I can't even think straight. Fuck. I'm bad at English.
Of course you can't think straight.
I'm turning on the webcam real quick.
Hey guys.
Hey Sam, guess what?
Your mom. Don't tempt me.
Bitch!
Hey guys. If I go slower, the camera will actually pick it up.
Yeah, it's because I'm using my default laptop webcam.
Well, it's a whole lot better than the one I bought at Walgreens.
This is a 720p cam.
That's not that good.
Let me guess, it's 480p. Or 240p.
It's around 480.
Ugh. What was it listed as?
I don't remember.
Ah. Yo, Sam, do a flip.
I'll do a flip out the window.
Don't do that. As I'm about to put my phone down, there's a tiny little notification on my lock screen. I have to blink a few times, convinced that I'm seeing things after just waking up. That profile picture is... No way, it couldn't be. Is it true? What the... That's all? A single message? What is this even supposed to mean? We haven't messaged in years, and then you send me one just to ask that? Ugh, whatever, I can't think straight right now. I'll deal with this after I've woken up properly. I yawn, rubbing my eyes and groaning as I sit up, and feel the sore back pop and creak in an alarming amount considering my age, giving a chance for my bleary vision to grow accustomed to the ambient light. And damn it, and I get the feeling I was having such a nice dream too. Shifting around in bed, I feel a sudden tingle shooting up all the way to my lower back as the sheets rub against something sensitive.
Hang on, guys. I have a whole quart and a half of triple fudge brownie ice cream. You good? Tater died, guys. I guess I gotta take over.
I'm back. He's talking about his penis. He's talking about his penis. Ah! He's talking about his penis. When I look down, I quickly recognize not only the immediately noticeable lump in front of me, but also the wet spot at its very tip that instantly caused me to tense up. You're kidding me. I carefully lift up my sheets, looking under them and reaching with my hand to feel it up, wanting to make sure of what it is that I'm seeing. Take 2 seconds to think about what's going on.
Oh no. Wet dream.
When I touch it with my finger and pull it away, the slippery substance lewdly creates an arc linking my finger to the wet spot on my underwear.
Tummies.
I guess it must have been a really nice dream. Twitch, please don't ban me. YouTube, please don't ban me either. God, this is embarrassing. Just a few minutes of kissing yesterday, and this is how I get. Get a grip, Yuuichi. Stop being so needy. I really need a cold bath right now. Let's hope Aki isn't awake yet. The last thing I need is to run into him on my way to the bathroom. Sometime later, having properly dried myself after my bath, I quickly scurried back into my room to get dressed and check on my leg. I've been doing those stretching exercises a few times a day since I got out of the hospital, but I am really starting to notice some progress. Although I really want to be positive and believe that I'll soon be able to at least stand up straight without help from these crutches, I also don't want to hold too much hope. I know that kind of negativity isn't good for me, but right now I have trouble believing that my hopes wouldn't be betrayed. It's easier to expect nothing. At least that way I wouldn't have to feel the pain of disappointment. Wait, how do I manage to keep doing this? I turn what should be a nice moment into some kind of depressing pity party. I've been catching myself doing it more and more lately, to the point that I'm even annoying myself. Stop it, just stop it. Today's a good day. Act like it, you moron. Nichan? Whoa, what the hell? At least knock first. And why aren't you dressed? Weren't you going to take a... Shh. What? Did he just shush me? What the hell? What kind of person walks into someone else's room half naked and without knocking only to shush them? Aki's eyes dart around nervously for a second, his entire attitude immediately wiping away any such concerns from my mind before he quickly shuffles toward the window. Looking out at... Honestly, I have no idea what. Aki mutters something to himself that I just can't hear, backing away from the window as if he'd just seen a ghost. Aki, what's going on? Don't go outside! What? What is that even supposed to mean? Just listen to me, please? Come on, Aki, I'm not in the mood to play games right now. I grab my crutches, quickly trying to make my way to the window to see what the hell's got him so spooked. But Aki quickly cuts me off, standing in front of me and blocking my way. What the? Aki, move! No! Please stay away from the windows! Why? Is there a riot going on outside that I failed to hear or something? What the hell is even going on? You're creeping me out. There's... Huh? Speak up. There's reporters. What? Wait, hold on. What? Reporters? As in news people? Why would there be reporters here? Nothing happens here. What's that supposed to... As Aki looks up at me with eyes full of concern, the meaning finally begins to dawn on to me. Could it be that instead of news reporters, he means more like... from the sports magazines? Aki gazes down at his feet, hesitating for a few seconds before nodding. Immediately, a million thoughts start racing through my mind. Something like this was bound to happen sooner or later. Just my absence from the last competition was enough to render my email inbox full of emails asking for comments about my unexplained absence, and then asking for comments on other players' comments on my absence, and then asking for comments on my lack of comments about my absence. Some of them seem to have gotten the hint, most of those being the editors and reporters of the magazines I've worked with in the past, but some others are like rabid dogs with a bone who seem completely oblivious, or at the very least uncaring, about how annoying and intrusive they are. And it's not like I could keep a tamp on it forever. Eventually someone was going to find out I'd gotten into an accident. Once it started going out in public again, that much was bound to happen. But I guess I underestimated just how much they would care about it. At the very least, I assumed I'd be able to go for at least another month longer before people clued in on it and started hounding me about it. After all, the interest in me has certainly dwindled a decent bit in recent years once I lost my position as number 1 in the youth ranks. Not enough to where I was free from attention, but at least to the point where I could mostly live my life without worrying outside of during tournaments and the likes. So why now? Why does it have to be now? How many are there? I don't know. Mom came to me when I was about to step in the bath and told me to keep you away from going outside. She's out there right now trying to get them to go away. You didn't look? I'm not exactly dressed enough to go outside and check. Right. This is just perfect, isn't it? Of course something like this would happen. I barely managed to get enough people in the... I barely managed to get through telling everyone in the club about my situation, and now I have to tell a bunch of reporters. Also, what? They can print gossip about it? I can already imagine the kinds of headlines they would write. Is it really too much to ask for a little bit of privacy, for some time to recover? Because everyone knows that what you need so soon after recovering life-altering news is a bunch of vultures waiting to pick you apart for a little bit of extra attention, right? God damn it. I hate all of this. Every time I feel like things might be starting to look up, something has to happen to kick me down. Yesterday, I thought to myself that the world was waiting around to punish me for daring to breathe out. Right after I told myself I was being stupid and that I shouldn't think like that. Well, fuck me for thinking like that. This is my punishment for daring to not be negative. Nichan, are you okay? You're really quiet. I'm fine. Are you sure? You should go get dressed. I'll stay away from the window. Right. Wait, no, not right. I still have to take my bath. I can't get dressed for school without bathing. True. I'll get back as soon as I'm dressed, okay? I'm sure Mom will finish breakfast as soon as she's done dealing with those guys outside. Sure. Aki hangs around for a few more seconds, looking at me with eyes full of worry and uncertainty. It's not like I'm stupid. Even I can tell that he's worried about me. Not like I haven't gotten tons of practice with that over the last month, but still. I don't care. I don't care if he worries anymore. I'm tired of caring about all that. All this crap that's been going on is just noise inside my head. I want it all to stop. Once Aki finally left, I quickly closed and locked the door behind him, relishing the chance to be alone again. Or as close to relishing anything as I can get right now. Sitting back down on my bed, I grab my phone to immediately look something up. I type my name on the search bar, feeling my stomach tighten itself up into a ball as I wait for the results to pop up. Immediately, my heart drops. There aren't many, but I can already see a few articles about me, most of them with very unflattering titles, all speculating about my absence and my silence about the last competition. Some also mentioning leaks from classmates talking about a potential injury. Rising Star burns himself out? Jesus Christ, that's horrible. What is wrong with these people? I know I wouldn't be able to keep this under wraps for long, but seriously? This is all awful. I'm tempted to peek out the window to just see how many of them are outside, but I know we shouldn't risk it. I know how relentless some of those hyenas can be. If one of them sees me, it'll be that much harder to get them to go away. Not that it matters. There's no way I'm risking going outside right now. I wouldn't put it past them to pretend to go away and lurk around waiting for me to leave for school. After all, there's no way them showing up before school was an accident. Wait. That message from Tanabe. It couldn't be, right? Was this what he meant? Is what true? I can't believe this. They went after Tanabe too? This is... Fuck. Fuck those people. What the hell? Who does something like this? What is wrong with you people? I fall back onto the bed, grabbing a pillow and covering my face with it so I can scream. But as much as I try, I can't seem to get it out. My voice is stuck in my throat. I try over and over to scream, but I can't bring myself to do it. It's like my throat isn't even my own anymore. I hate all of this. An hour later, suddenly the sound of someone knocking on my door breaks me out of the stupor of my own thoughts. I look at the door, not bothering to answer, wanting only to be left alone. When I don't answer, they knock again, this time more insistently. Is it Aki? It's probably Aki. He did say he'd be back. Maybe it's Mom wanting to tell me she got rid of the people outside. Whatever. Next thing I know, the handle gets jimmied and twisted a few times, but the lock stays firmly in place, keeping the door from opening. Nichan, is everything okay? Why did you lock the door? I keep staring blankly at the door. It's okay. Mom got those people to go away. She's calling us a cab. We won't be able to eat breakfast, but she said she'll give us money to buy something once we get to school. I don't have the energy for this right now. What's even the point anyway? Nichan, come on. If we don't leave soon, we're going to be late. I cover my face with the pillow again, wanting to shut down everything around me. Nichan, seriously, this isn't funny. We really do need to get going. It doesn't matter how many times you try the handle. The door isn't going to be any less locked than it was 5 seconds ago. Just give it up, Aki. Yuuichi-chan, please open the door. Just leave me alone already. Please don't make me yell at you again. I don't want to do that, Aki. I really don't want to snap again. I continue to think over the words "go away" in my head over and over until they turn into some kind of mantra. It takes me a while to realize that Aki's voice seems so much farther away now. I can tell that he's still behind the door, but all of a sudden it's like he's on the far end of a tunnel, shouting down it while trying to be heard. As strange as it is, I welcome the sensation as it makes it easier to tune him out. And when I continue to think such thoughts, Aki's voice seems to grow more and more distant until it is barely even a whisper. After a few more minutes of knocking, with Aki growing more and more frantic as time passed, I eventually heard another voice from the other side of the door, followed by all sounds ceasing. I exhaled, breathing out a sigh of relief, having not even realized that I'd been holding my breath and gritting my teeth the entire time. A few more minutes later, there's another knock on the door, this time much softer.
Yuuichi, I've sent Aki off to school. I understand if you need some space, but can you at least speak up so I know you're okay?
I'm fine. Please leave me alone. I managed to croak out, my voice no longer seeming my own, so devoid of emotion that I don't recognize myself.
Alright. There's some food in the fridge. Feel free to go eat whenever you want. And also, I'm really sorry about all of this. I should have seen something like this coming and been better prepared.
I nod to no one in particular, relieved that she didn't fight me on it. I know I probably should say it's not her fault, but I don't want to talk at all right now. You'd think I'm asking for the world, considering how difficult it seems to be for people to understand I just want to be left alone. Besides, it wouldn't do anyone any good to deal with me right now. It's better for everyone if I stay right here. Instead, I shift around in bed once my knee starts bothering me, making sure to at least reposition myself so it won't get hurt any worse. For the next several minutes, I stare at the ceiling without moving, merely dealing with the maelstrom of thoughts raging inside my head, each one worse than the next. The ceiling seems so much closer to me, seeming to get closer and closer the longer I stare at it. But I still can't look away, continuing to stare into space until spots begin to appear in my vision, distorting everything to the point that it seems unrecognizable. Only then do I blink, rubbing my eyes a few times to try and dispel those spots, feeling my eyes sting and throb a bit. The more I try not to think about the things that have been bothering me, the more I seem to shut down. It's a strange feeling. The growing numbness makes me feel as if I were floating around somewhere, not really in my own body anymore. But even then, I would take this any day over being in my own head right now. In fact, it almost feels like I'm not. When I close my eyes, it's almost as if I could look down and see myself lying in bed, the whole thing being so freaky that I know I should be freaked out by it. But the truth is, I really just don't care. My mind barely registers it with a "whoa, that's weird" before I mentally shrug. I decide to focus on the growing spots in my vision once again, since it was when I first noticed them that I started feeling this way. At least doing that gives me something to do, something to focus on. My concentration is briefly broken by the sound of my phone vibrating, somewhere. I watch myself pick it up through someone else's eyes, the phone seeming so much farther away than it really is considering it's at arm's reach. I blink a few times, struggling for a few moments to comprehend what I'm seeing. It's only when I glance at the upper left corner of the screen that I notice it. Huh. I think to myself, finally realizing that it's been over an hour since Aki left for school. Have I been lying here this whole time? My phone continues to vibrate in my hand as I stare at it. Even as I see June's messages coming in, I can't bring myself to even read them, let alone answer. I don't have the energy to make someone else feel better right now. Instead, I toss my phone off somewhere that it won't continue to bother me. Thankfully, the distant muffled buzzing as if it were underwater is quiet enough that I can eventually tune it out just as I did Aki earlier. We're going to leave off here tonight. Yeah, it's very depressing. Not much can be said, if anything at all, so stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.